Atlantic Canada's first seafood industry innovation summit. I got to tell you, been a lot of great conversations and a lot of collaboration, right? A whole ecosystem coming together, sharing best practices. You know, we don't have to reinvent the wheel here. We can learn from one another. Now, you were just a keynote, so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Sure. So I'm Paul Lansbergen. I'm president of the Fisheries Council of Canada. We're the national trade association representing wild capture fish processors from across the country on all three coasts. And it was said before my keynote that I planted the seed for this summit because I have experience in the forest industry and how they work to transform and produce more value from biomass beyond the traditional products, and the same opportunity exists in seafood. And what I found is that we have, as you said, a large community of innovators and the innovation ecosystem, and we need to connect the dots. We need to bring people together to collaborate, to learn from each other. And so we may have like a great entrepreneur here that has a great idea, but they need to talk to a fish company so they know exactly how they process their fish and what's left over and how can that be best utilized, what might need to change in the process and what doesn't. And that way, talking together, they can develop the best plan forward for both of them.
And now, Paul, the room is abuzz here right now. People are just coming out of your keynote address. Of course, not everybody could be there. Certainly a broader audience here now digitally. Can you give us a little synopsis about what you talked about in there?
Yes, so one of the things I talked about was an innovation storyboard. So it's a report that we issued last month, and it's one of the reasons why we did it is to celebrate the successes that we've seen in the last few years and all the efforts that are going. Because there's a lot happening, and Canadians, we're too modest, right? We don't talk up everything that's going on. We tend to be quiet about it and just do our business. So we needed to celebrate that. We needed to create awareness even within the industry of all the innovations that are happening, and then also influence the narrative around the sector that we are very sustainable. We're leaders in the world in that. Yeah, we're not perfect. We got room for improvement, but we're way better than most of the world. Right. And so we need to celebrate that. The innovation storyboard goes into some of those details. It's not an exhaustive list, but we talk about new vessel designs and new technology that are in the new vessels, whether it be a small inshore vessel or a large frozen at sea factory vessel for offshore. We talk about precision harvesting, some of the new emerging technologies that will better enable us to be more targeted in where we harvest fish, but also how. Right. And it could create, so the biggest transformation I think is for trawlers. If we can get rid of the trawl doors, that can improve fuel efficiency by 30%, and we can better control where the net is in the water column, so we can keep it off the bottom and things like that, so that's more fuel efficient. It's better for environmental footprint, less benthic disruptions, and there's other elements that they're trying to work on that as well that can reduce bycatch. Right. So those are exciting opportunities, and there's many more where that came from. Process automation, we've already heard a lot of opportunities there that can reduce our labor shortages, right? So all this automation, it doesn't replace jobs, it replaces jobs vacancies. Right. And if there are people that need to be displaced, well, they can be retrained for probably better jobs in the plants. And new novel products, we've talked about that a little bit throughout the day this week. And whether it be supplements or other food products, non-food products, there's a lot of elements, nutrients that we can extract, whether it be from the shells or the frames or just meat from the fish and shellfish. A lot of opportunity there. We're already using more than people think, but there's still more opportunities to create more value. Other innovations like trying to reduce plastics in the packaging where it makes sense, and software for traceability, more efficiency through complicated operations and things like that.
Now, you've covered a lot there for sure, and really, but exciting stuff to be sure. Give me your lens on artificial intelligence, digitization, those things.
Yeah, so digitization, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity in digitally controlling systems so that you need fewer people and you can have better control over the parameters of your system, your processes, and so that I think is a good opportunity. And then the use of AI in being able to, I think that where that's a good opportunity is on the harvesting side, because it can help identify the schools of fish, the types of fish that are there, and help companies really focus their harvesting efforts and operations.
This sector is one thing I've really noticed here. It's a really elegant collaboration of government, industry, and academia. Everybody seems to be swimming in the same lane, if you will, here for the benefit of all. Give me your appreciation of that.
I think one of the challenges, you mentioned that, and we have a very diverse sector, right? We have close to 200 commercial species in Canada across 3 coasts, and we have hundreds of operators in the offshore, thousands of processors, tens of thousands of inshore harvesters. That's a lot of people, and the broader innovation ecosystem also has a lot of players. So what I fear is that we're not talking enough to each other, and so there could be duplication of effort, which to some degree is good because it's healthy competition. That there's not just one great idea out there, there's multiple ideas for the same thing. So you got to figure, okay, which one is the best? And the more we talk to each other, the easier we will be able to determine which one's the best and accelerate the commercialization of that technology. We also have to think about the broader adoption. So you got first movers, that's always a niche part of every sector, but then we have a huge swath of followers that will be second, third tier adopters of these new technologies. How do we accelerate that? And that's going to be a big challenge.
Wow, exciting times though.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this is
exciting times in the sector.
Yeah. I mean, with all the stuff that's going on, and we've got CCFI, great organization. Keith is doing a great job there. We've got the Ocean Supercluster. We've got the broader Marine Institute here, National Research Council, other institutes and organizations that all play an important role in R&D and innovations. And so we need to bring people together to have that collaboration and really move things forward.
I love your lens on it. We need more of these things. We need more of these sessions to bring people together to share those ideas. And certainly this one is a great start, is it not?
It is. And a lot of these ideas, for me anyway, are coming from my experience in the forest industry. Prior to fisheries, I spent 15 years at the National Trade Association for Forest Products. And that industry went through the decade of hell, as I call it, in the early 2000s. They were really at a crisis situation. They needed to identify how they could transform beyond their traditional suite of products. And converting biomass, whether it be woody biomass or pulping liquor or oil or seafood biomass, it can all be converted into a multitude of elements and market applications. So the trick is, okay, what technology to use? And some technologies are very versatile, some are very finicky. What's the scale? And certainly for oil, plenty of it.
Right.
Forest biomass, a good volume of it. Seafood, small volume, and it decays very quickly and smells, so that creates a different challenge, right? So scale is really important. How do you scale the technology to the volume that's available and to the market application? And how do you figure out the economics of it? How can you do that in an economic manner when some of our fisheries are seasonal? So the hurdle rate is way higher for us than in some other sectors. Right. So you just got to have the will to do it and the collaboration to make it happen. And we've got all the pieces. We just have to put them together.
What a great conversation, and what a great way to end it, too. You have the will to do it and the collaboration, and it's playing out right in front of us.
Exactly.
Thanks very much for being on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure.